What happens when one of the world's biggest pop icons agrees to a simple daytime interview, only to end up in the middle of live TV warfare? What you're about to witness isn't just another tense celebrity moment. It's a full-blown clash between a global superstar and a host who came armed with barbs instead of questions. Jennifer Lopez, the woman who's conquered music, film, and fashion, found herself face to face with a host who seemed determined to humiliate her from the very first sentence. This wasn't just uncomfortable. It was historic. The energy at ABC's New York studio was electric as The View prepped for another star-studded episode. Jennifer Lopez had agreed to appear, expecting the usual promo tour. What she got instead was a public ambush she'd never forget. The lights were perfect. The makeup was flawless. The audience, eager and unsuspecting. Jennifer walked out in a cream blazer that shimmered under the lights, her signature smile lighting up the room. The theme music rolled. The cameras panned. And then, Whoopi's warm voice welcomed the audience back. "We're here with the incredible Jennifer Lopez, who's got so much going on right now. Thanks for having me." Jennifer replied, confident, composed. The other hosts, Sonny Hostin and Sarah Haynes, offered warm greetings, but one person sat noticeably still, Joy Behar. Arms folded, smile tight. Her energy, ice cold. Then came the opening jab. "So Jennifer," Joy began, her tone razor sharp, "let's talk about your new project. But first, how do you manage to stay relevant after all these years? I mean, it must be exhausting constantly reinventing yourself just to keep up with the younger generation." The room froze. Jennifer's smile faltered, just slightly, but the shift in energy was immediate. She recovered quickly, but the tension had arrived and it wasn't leaving. "Staying relevant," Jennifer answered, voice calm but steely, "isn't about chasing anyone. It's about staying true to who I am and continuing to grow, both as an artist and a person." Joy wasn't done. "But don't you think," she pressed, leaning forward with a glint in her eye, "that at some point, your time's just up? I mean, how many comebacks can one person have before it starts looking desperate?" You could hear a pin drop. Even the cameraman seemed frozen. Whoopi shifted in her seat. Sonny and Sarah exchanged alarmed glances. This wasn't an interview anymore. This was personal. Jennifer sat up straighter. The fire was back. "Are you suggesting that my continued success is something to be ashamed of?" she asked, locking eyes with Joy. "Because I don't see it that way. At all." Joy scoffed. "Come on, Jennifer. You've been in the game 30 years. And every few years it's another J.Lo comeback. Maybe it's time to let the next generation have their turn." The audience murmured. Some gasped. Jennifer's expression tightened, her voice still controlled but colder now. "I came here to talk about my work, my passion. Not to be told my career has an expiration date." Joy pushed harder. "Maybe the problem is you're not used to being challenged. You've built a world where everyone tells you what you want to hear. This is The View. We ask the tough questions." Whoopi tried to intervene. "Joy, maybe we should." "No, Whoopi." Joy cut in, eyes still locked on Jennifer. "Let's be honest. Jennifer, how many engagements have you had now? 5, 6. Don't you think there's a pattern there that deserves some reflection?" The studio erupted. Gasps, whispers. Even the stagehands looked stunned. Jennifer's expression turned deadly calm. Her voice, when it came, was almost a whisper. "What exactly does my personal life have to do with my professional work? And more importantly, who gave you the right to judge my relationships on live television?" Joy shrugged, feigning innocence. "You put your personal life out there. It's fair game. Fair game." Jennifer snapped, voice rising. "You're being incredibly disrespectful. I've been nothing but gracious since I sat down, and you've done nothing but attack me, both personally and professionally." Sarah tried to change the subject. "Jennifer, let's talk about your upcoming." "No," Jennifer interrupted, eyes still on Joy. "We're not moving on, Joy? I don't know what your issue is, but this isn't journalism. This is a personal hit job, and I'm not here for it. Joy smirked. Oh, so now I'm the villain because I asked real questions instead of throwing softballs. By now, even the audience was visibly uncomfortable. And yet, Jennifer never flinched. Because in that moment, she wasn't just defending her career. She was defending every woman who's ever been told her time was up. That's rich, Jennifer? Joy sneered. Jennifer stood slowly from the couch, her voice now echoing with a deep, restrained fury. You know what's rich? She fired back. What's rich is a woman who's made a career out of tearing other women down, sitting here pretending she's some kind of feminist authority. What's rich is you, lecturing me about relevance while you weaponize feminism to humiliate another woman for being successful. The studio erupted. Gasps, shouts. The audience was on edge. The other hosts scrambled to contain the moment. But it was too late. Joy stood too, face flushed, voice sharp. How dare you come on my show and lecture me on feminism? She hissed. You want to talk about tearing women down. You've built your entire brand on your looks, not your talent. Jennifer paused, stunned, briefly, but only for a moment. Then her expression shifted. The pain vanished. What remained was something harder, more dangerous. Familiar to anyone who had ever underestimated her, this was the Jennifer Lopez who fought her way out of the Bronx. The woman who conquered music, film, fashion, and built an empire on grit. Her voice dropped to a razor's edge. You know what, Joy, she said coolly. I've been called a lot of things. A diva, difficult, demanding, but I have never, ever, been called untalented by someone who actually knew what they were talking about. The room fell dead silent. Joy's face had turned a dangerous shade of purple. Her hands trembled. Then, quiet, but venomous, untalented, she repeated. Let's talk about talent. Let's talk about how you've lived since through half your career. About how you've used every relationship you've had to land a movie role. About how you've built your brand by being a fantasy for men instead of having anything real to say. The audience gasped. Even The View, a show known for conflict, had never seen anything like this. Jennifer's eyes narrowed. For a heartbeat. It looked like she might walk off right then and there. But instead, she stepped forward. Her voice was ice. I've tried to be respectful, Joy. I've tried to take the high road. But if you want to go there, fine. Let's go there. You want to talk about using relationships. Let's talk about you. How you've spent your entire career riding on other people's coattails. How you've never created anything original in your life. Joy snapped, stepping closer. I've been in this business longer than you've been relevant. Jennifer laughed, but there was no warmth in it. Relevant, she repeated. You mean bitter. You've sat behind this desk for decades tearing down people who are out there creating, risking, growing. You think that's relevance? You're not a journalist. Joy, you're a gatekeeper with a grudge. Whoopi finally stepped in. Ladies, please, let's just take a step back. No, Whoopi, Jennifer said, still locked on Joy. This needed to be said. I've sat here and taken it. While she's attacked my career, my personal life, my talent, my character. For what? What did I do? Show up. Joy's eyes gleamed with rage. You exist, she spat. You exist in a space that should belong to artists with real talent. You take up space. You steal opportunities. And everyone just lets you. The studio was now on its feet. Some were shouting in support of Jennifer. Others just stood, stunned. Cameramen scrambled to get every shot. Jennifer's voice rose, cutting through the chaos. Artists who deserve them, she repeated. When was the last time you created anything? When was the last time you put yourself out there, took a risk, stood for something? You sit behind this desk and judge people for actually living, for actually trying. Joy snapped back. I don't have to justify my career to you. I've been successful longer than you've been relevant. Jennifer's reply was a quiet, lethal blow. Successful at what? Being negative. Being a bully. That's what you are, Joy. A bully who calls it journalism. Joy's face contorted with fury. You want to call me a bully, she hissed. Let's talk about how you've bullied your way through Hollywood. Demanding special treatment. Throwing tantrums when you don't get your way. Jennifer actually laughed, and this time, it was real. Joy, you're literally having a tantrum right now, on national television. Because a guest refused to be your punching bag. I'm not having a meltdown, Joy screamed, only proving Jennifer's point further. I'm trying to conduct an interview. An interview that you turned into a hit job, Jennifer snapped. You called me desperate. You dragged my relationships. You questioned my talent. And now you're shocked I won't just sit here and smile through it. Sarah Haynes desperately tried to interject. Maybe we should go to commercial. No, Joy barked. Jennifer Lopez came on this show, and she's going to answer for her behavior. Jennifer's expression turned incredulous. My behavior, she said. Joy, you need to answer for yours. You've been unprofessional, cruel. You didn't interview me. You ambushed me. And for what? What threat am I to you? Joy's eyes narrowed. You represent everything wrong with this industry, she said with venom. You're all flash, no substance, all image, no authenticity. The words hung in the air like a final blow. Jennifer stood still, silent, and then she softened, just slightly. You know what, Joy, she said gently, almost sadly. I feel sorry for you, I really do, because you're so angry, so bitter, so jealous of what other people have built, that you can't see beauty in anyone else. I'm not jealous of you, Joy snapped. There's nothing about your life I'd want. Jennifer tilted her head. Then why are you so angry? She asked quietly. Why are you so determined to tear me down? Why can't you just ask me about my work like a professional? Because your work isn't even worth discussing. Joy sneered, her voice laced with unmistakable cruelty. It's manufactured, processed, focus, grouped garbage that contributes nothing but noise to the world. The audience gasped, a collective recoil at the sheer venom of her words. But Jennifer didn't flinch. She smiled. Not a fake, polished smile, but a knowing one. A smile forged in the fire of decades spent enduring criticism, rejection, and being underestimated. Then she spoke, calmly, firmly. You're entitled to your opinion, Joy, Jennifer said. You can hate my music, my films, hell, everything I've ever done. That's your right. But what you're not entitled to is cruelty. You're not entitled to be disrespectful. And you sure as hell aren't entitled to attack me on national television under the guise of journalism. Joy snapped back instantly, voice rising. I'll say whatever I want. This is my show, these are my questions. And if you don't like it, you can leave. The room went still. Everyone, from the hosts to the crew to the audience, froze, waiting to see what Jennifer would do. This was the moment. Would she back down? Jennifer slowly looked around the room, at the stunned faces, the blinking cameras, the sea of eyes fixed on her. Then she turned back to Joy, her voice now lined with quiet dignity. You're right, she said. I can leave. She reached down and picked up her purse. But before she turned to go, she faced the cameras head on. Before I do, I want to say something to your audience. She held her gaze steady. I've been in this business a long time. I've faced criticism. Some of it fair, some of it brutal. But what happened here today? This wasn't critique. It was an honest conversation. It was a personal attack dressed up as an interview. And I won't be part of it. She took a step toward the studio doors, when Joy's voice cut through the silence like a knife. Oh, no, you don't, she snapped. You don't get to come on my show, insult me, and walk away pretending you're the victim. Jennifer froze mid-step, hands still on her purse strap. Slowly, she turned back around. And for the first time that day, she wasn't smiling. Excuse me, she said softly. You heard me. Joy snapped, misreading Jennifer's silence as submission. You came here defensive, rude, hostile from the moment you sat down. Now you're playing the martyr. Behind her, the co-hosts panicked, waving, mouthing, stop, trying to rein Joy in. But she couldn't be stopped now. The confrontation had taken on a life of its own. Joy. Whoopi began trying to salvage the show. No, Whoopi. Joy shouted, refusing to yield. I'm sick of celebrities thinking they can control the narrative. This isn't some puff, peace talk show. This is The View. We ask real questions here. Jennifer stepped forward again. But she didn't sit. She stood directly in front of Joy. Her voice was like steel wrapped in velvet. Joy, I've done interviews for over 25 years. I've sat down with everyone from Pulitzer winners to late-night hosts. I've been asked tough questions about my career, my choices, even my failures. And I've answered them. But what you did today wasn't journalism. It was bullying. The Joy scoffed, her laugh bitter. Bullying, she said. You want to talk about bullying? Let's talk about how you've stolen opportunities from real artists. Let's talk about how you've used your looks and your relationships to stay relevant while people with actual talent were pushed aside. Joy. Enough, Sunny finally said, her voice cracking through the chaos. But Joy stood again defiant. No, it's not enough. Jennifer Lopez has coasted on image and hype for decades. And it's time someone finally said it. Jennifer didn't move. She let the silence do the heavy lifting. Then, you want to know the truth, Joy? She said, her tone even measured. The truth is, I don't need to defend my work. Not to you, not to anyone. My career stands on its own. My fans stand by me. My art speaks for itself. She stepped even closer, close enough that Joy's smirk began to falter. But let me ask you something, Joy, she continued. When was the last time you created something? When was the last time you put yourself out there, took a risk, built something from nothing, dared to be vulnerable in front of the world? Joy fired back. I don't need to justify my career to you. I've been successful longer than you've been relevant. Jennifer smiled, coldly this time. Successful at what? Being bitter. Tearing people down from behind a desk. That's not journalism, Joy. That's resentment. And resentment isn't a career. Joy's rage boiled over. You think I'm the bully. Let's talk about how you bully everyone around you. How you throw tantrums, demand special treatment, act like the world owes you something. Jennifer raised an eyebrow. Joy, you're literally having a tantrum right now. The audience laughed, nervously, as Joy screamed. I am now having a meltdown. Jennifer nodded slowly. You started this interview by calling me desperate and irrelevant. You dragged my relationships. You questioned my talent. And now you're outraged because I pushed back. That's not journalism, Joy. That's ego. Sarah tried once more. Maybe we should go to break. We're not going to break, Joy barked. Jennifer Lopez came here, and she's going to answer for her behavior. Jennifer turned to face the audience one last time. No, Joy. You need to answer for yours, for your disrespect, for your cruelty, for taking this platform and turning it into a stage for bitterness. Joy seethed. You're what's wrong with this industry, she said. All flash, no substance, fake, manufactured, empty. Jennifer paused. The air was thick with tension. But when she spoke, her voice was once again soft. You know what, Joy, she said. I actually feel sorry for you. Because you're so full of anger, so eaten up by jealousy, that you can't even recognize art, effort, or authenticity anymore. Trice snarled. J.Lo, of you. Trust me, Jennifer, there is nothing about your life that I want. Jennifer tilted her head, studying her. Then why are you so desperate to tear it down? Why can't you just do your job and ask about my work? Jennifer's composure finally cracked. Coasting? She repeated, stepping forward. Joy, do you have any idea what it took for me to get here? Do you have any idea what it's like to be a Latina woman in an industry that tells you you're never enough? Not white enough, not thin enough, not quiet enough. Joy scoffed. Oh, spare me the victim speech. You've been privileged your entire career. Jennifer's voice rose, not out of rage, but out of truth. Privileged, she said. I grew up in the Bronx. I worked as a backup dancer. I scraped my way into this business with no connections, no favors. I auditioned and got rejected more times than I can count. I built my career while people like you sat behind desks, judging me, saying I didn't deserve it. Joy's voice dropped to a growl. People like me. And what exactly do you mean by that? I mean people who tear others down instead of building anything themselves. Jennifer shot back. People who think being cruel makes them smart. People who've never risked anything, never created anything, just sat safely on the sidelines throwing stones. Joy's mask cracked, pure resentment flooding her face. Let's talk about your last 3 movies then. Your last album. Let's talk about how you keep trying to relive your glory days. And failing. The words hit hard, but Jennifer didn't retreat. She stepped closer. You're right, she said. I've failed. I've made bad movies. I've dropped songs that didn't chart. But at least I tried. At least I didn't spend my life behind a desk, hiding behind criticism and pretending it's courage. How dare you, Joy hissed. I've been successful in this business longer than you've been alive. Jennifer didn't blink. Successful at what? Being bitter? Being loud? Look at yourself right now, screaming at a guest because she didn't play along with your script. That's not journalism. That's a meltdown, a Joy exploded. I am not bullying anyone, she screamed. I am asking legitimate questions about your career. Jennifer's expression hardened. Legitimate, she repeated. You asked if it was time for me to retire. You dragged my relationships. You mocked my work. You've done everything possible to humiliate me on national television. If that's not bullying, what is? The studio was in chaos now. Audience on their feet. The hosts frozen in disbelief. And then Joy snapped completely. You know what I really think, she said, voice low, venomous. I think you're a talentless hack who's fooled the world into believing you're an artist. I think you're a product. Manufactured. Hollow, fake. Silence. Heavy total. Jennifer stood still. Then, she smiled out of anger, out of certainty. Thank you, Joy, she said softly. Joy blinked. Thank you for showing everyone exactly who you are. Jennifer continued. You didn't just prove my point. You broadcast it. You're not a journalist. You're not even a critic. You're a bitter woman who tries to tear people down because building anything real terrifies you. Joy's face went pale. Get out, she snapped. Get out of my studio, right now, Jennifer laughed. For the first time that day, it was genuine. Your studio, she said. Joy, this is ABC's studio. You're just an employee, same as everyone else. Security!
Joy shouted.
Get security in here! Jennifer held up a hand. Don't bother. I'm leaving. But not because you told me to. I'm leaving because I have too much respect for myself to stay in a room where I'm treated like this. She turned to the cameras one final time. To everyone watching, remember what you saw here today. This wasn't journalism. This was bullying. And standing up to a bully is always the right thing to do, even when it's uncomfortable. She picked up her purse. Joy tried again. You're the one who's been difficult and destructive? Jennifer paused, then turned back. The look on her face wasn't angry. It was pity. Joy, she said. I hope someday you find what you're looking for. I really do. But until then, I refuse to be part of your misery. She turned, walking toward the exit. Her head high, her dignity intact. Joy couldn't let it end. Don't you dare walk away from me! She shrieked. Don't you dare act like you're better than me! Jennifer stopped at the edge of the set, looked back one last time. I'm not better than you, Joy, she said. I'm just different. I build, you destroy, I create. You criticize. I lift others up. You tear them down. That's the difference. And with that, Jennifer Lopez walked off the view, leaving behind a host exposed, a studio stunned, and a masterclass in grace under fire burned into live television history. The cameras kept rolling. Joy stood frozen, her rage curdling into something dangerously close to shame. The audience didn't cheer. They didn't clap. They just watched. And somewhere, quietly, Jennifer Lopez reminded the world dignity always wins.